Hey everyone, so glad you're here for this explainer. Look, today we're unpacking something absolutely crucial, a truly transformative two-page journaling exercise straight from Thomas Alethea's 12 Steps to a Good Life. If you've ever felt just weighed down by old, heavy spiritual beliefs, or maybe you're trying to build a spiritual framework that actually supports who you are today, this explainer is exactly what you need. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's kick this off with a pretty direct question. What were you taught about God when you were a kid? Take a second and really think back to your earliest memories. Almost all of us are handed this inherited religious dogma, this prepackaged worldview from our parents, teachers, or just society in general. It's the starting line for basically everyone. But the crazy thing is, we often carry this massive luggage for decades without ever stopping to ask, wait, does this actually serve my adult life?
And that brings us right to section 1, the burden of inherited dogma and facing our childhood beliefs. So we all start out dealing with the universal pain of lugging around these really rigid, often super fear-based beliefs from when we were little. I mean, just think about the glaring contradictions you were probably handed. You're taught, on one hand, that a divine being loves you unconditionally, but then, in the literal exact same breath, you're warned that sinners are going to burn forever, or that you're just born in sin and you're always going to be broken. If you've ever felt the absolute whiplash of trying to balance those impossible rules, trust me, you are not alone. It just breeds fear and shame instead of any real connection.
But here is the crucial point, and it's captured so beautifully by Alethea. Quote, "The prisons we must escape are self-made. This heavy baggage kind of suffocates us in these tiny, rigid boxes of our own making. But, and this is the best part, because they are self-made, that means we actually have the power to dismantle them. Alethea gives us a highly actionable, hands-on way to break free."
So grab a pen and some paper right now, because we're going to walk step by step through this really liberating 3-step workshop. It's super simple, but incredibly profound. Step 1, you write all about God. Step 2, you write all about my higher power. And step 3, you keep these pages and revisit them often. All right, let's move right into section 2, page 1 of the exercise, all about God.
This is the part where you confront your past, and here is the rule. Absolutely no judgment allowed. Your only goal here is to write freely about the rules, the fears, and the frustrations you were taught in childhood, just to clear out some space in your soul. Like, did you have to sit perfectly still in a pew? Were you terrified of lightning striking you for telling a white lie? Just list out everything you were taught and what you actually feel right now. You gotta go way past what you think you should say.
Now, as you do this, you might find some incredibly deep, really uncomfortable questions bubbling up. Things like, why does God allow war? Why do innocent children suffer? Why do people live in such despair? Aletheia makes a really great point here. Letting these difficult questions and the anger or confusion that comes with them, letting all of that rise up to the surface is actually a huge victory. It means you are finally paying attention. You're not just blindly swallowing the dogma anymore. Just keep your primary goal in mind. You are not writing a theology paper for a grade. You're clearing space in your soul. You are validating your past struggles to literally empty your cup. Because think about it, you simply can't fill a cup that's already completely overflowing with inherited anxiety, fear, and contradictions. You have to get the old stuff out on paper first. And once that cup is finally empty, you are ready for a really short pivot. You're leaving behind the heavy constraints of your past, all that inherited dogma and fear, and you're stepping into the liberating truth of your present. It's a complete shift toward a personal, kind, and genuinely supportive paradigm. Which brings us to section 3, page 2, My Higher Power. So now all that heavy lifting turns into this expansive, creative freedom. At the top of your second page, you write, all about my higher power. And Aletheia prompts you with this absolutely beautiful thought. Quote, imagine what a spiritual presence would be like if it were real and kind and cared about you. This is where you actively construct a healthy, supportive concept of a higher power that's tailored entirely to your personal needs and understanding. It's not a system demanding your compliance anymore. He gives some really specific prompts to help you visualize this totally customized presence. Is it masculine, feminine, both, or neither? Does it even have a form? Or is it just a feeling, like a quiet whisper in your gut? You are making yourself the protagonist of your own spirituality here. It doesn't have to look anything like someone else's God or higher power. Literally, it only has to make sense to you. The most crucial step is defining the attributes that you actually functionally need. Ask yourself, does this presence listen to me? Does it understand? Does it forgive? Can it actually guide me? Try to describe this presence as clearly as you possibly can. Because what you're doing is building a living, well, actually scratch that. It's more like a living, breathing relationship, rather than just adopting some rigid, lifeless doctrine.
Finally, let's look at Section 4, a living, evolving spirituality and returning to the path. See, this isn't just a one-time check-the-box journaling prompt that you shove in a drawer. It's a functional approach to lifelong growth. Your conception of a higher power is going to naturally evolve as you change. And changing your beliefs isn't some failure of faith. It's actually an undeniable sign of life. What worked for you 5 years ago might not work for you today, and honestly, that is perfectly fine. And that is exactly why you need to keep these 2 pages safe and revisit them. Pull them out when you're feeling distant or confused or lost or, even just curious. Keep these pages as footprints on your path to help you realign with your true, authentic self whenever you drift. So I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder today. If your higher power could be exactly what you need right now, what does it look like? Grab your pen, take a really deep breath, and begin your own page 1. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I'll catch you next time as we continue to break down the ideas that shape our lives.